it would start by showing your computer, the way you had it sitting. Now it'll show us talking, and people can look at the other side of the room where there's nothing.
Right. So hey guys, this is 360 Shop Log and Roll, and today I'm hanging out with Strat Parrott, who is actually one killer VR dude, virtual reality, 360. He knows tons of stuff. I think you call yourself, what was the title? You said an experiment expert. What do you say?
Experiential design expert. I'm a mad scientist.
Mad scientist, that's even better. So today, one of the things I want to talk to Strat about, obviously, since I'm trying a lot of things and learning what this whole 360 world and sort of the VR sort of stuff is about, I've been learning that I have not been uploading YouTube correctly. There's tons of things to do to make it better. My experience on my mobile device is a lot easier to use than it is on desktop, and so I figured, why not ask an expert? So Strat, tell us a little bit about sort of your experience with using something like a Ryko Theta for those of the watchers or subscribers out there who are starting to think about buying one.
Yeah, so really for just the entry-level experience, I think that the Ryko Theta is probably one of the better options to go with. It's small, it's compact. I may actually go grab mine in a minute just so we can show you what it looks like and you don't have to
go online,
look it up on the internet. But, you know, it's a great format. They're fairly inexpensive. I mean, they're under $500. They're making firmware updates about monthly to give some more functionality to this camera. And I like that it's rectilinear format. So what that means is that it's just kind of distorting the rectangle or a panoramic shot to really make the whole picture, rather than some of these things that you see that are spherical. So they're like tiny world VR views. Those cameras can be a little bit more difficult to deal with when you get into editing video or just uploading. So things like Facebook right now and YouTube even very readily and easily take this format and can translate it without having to do a lot of stuff. That being said, YouTube still requires an extra step of uploading the files after running them through another program. I think that's maybe changing sometime soon, but it just makes it a lot easier to add in the tags that it needs.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like how you help people understand how to use these things better, and give us like a sampling, and maybe what's a project you worked on recently that sort of allowed you to kind of test the boundaries of tools like this.
So what I do with Juncture, my company, is we build interactive experiences and do that for institutions, corporations, and different types of organizations. So a lot of what that means is we're doing technical and creative consulting and taking some of the latest bleeding edge or technologies that are new and underutilized and applying those to practical efforts. So one of the things that we've found is that in VR and augmented reality things and even 360, that some of the more traditional companies like manufacturing and construction and architecture are more interested in these things than
some tech companies, maybe?
Than some tech companies. You know, I mean, right now there was just an article that came out about how the VR Armageddon is happening, and everybody's going into hibernation like cockroaches because of different issues with content and just how the different headsets aren't really working together nicely. So there's a lot of things that are interesting, and the initial focus for VR, AR, and even things like this 360 are focused on gaming and gamers, which is cool, and a lot of times that's where you have the pickup of using technology such as this, but manufacturing and things like that have been able to take training and safety and things like this that normally take a lot of time, take up locations, or could potentially like stop production to do the training. and being able to virtualize that.
Right.
So you can teach somebody how to be on the line or work with a piece of equipment virtually or even through augmented reality where you don't have to do that in person, either with an extra giant machine that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, or stopping production, which could cost millions of dollars for a few hours. And it really helps things out. These manufacturers, too, a lot of times are trying to sell the equipment. Maybe they produce the equipment.
Sure.
So if you have something that's large and you're trying to go to a trade show or a conference or something like many of us do for business, you're not able to ship a 50-ton piece of equipment to show it off, and pictures just don't really do it justice, don't really work. So there's some creative ways that you can use these technologies to show things off.
That's really cool. So how would you, as far as like, I mean, everyone knows I'm in Chattanooga, you're in Chattanooga, which is awesome. What's it like as far as sort of exposing this technology to those kind of companies you sort of mentioned? What's their take on it, and how they received your ideas of using these things?
So usually it's just kind of showing how there's a practical application for these types of technologies. So in the case of 360 video, even using this same camera, actually this time last year I was at NeoCon in Chicago, and there's some really beautiful, great showrooms up there in the Merchandise Mart for this conference. And not everybody can make it. Some of their sales team for different companies can't get there, and they really want to show off these temporary showrooms that they've made just for this conference. So one thing that we proposed was, hey, we can do a 360 video and kind of a tour of your showroom that you can very easily and readily share with your Facebook fans.
Live stream it.
You can live stream it.
Yeah.
You can send it to, even just last year, you couldn't really live stream 360, but just a couple of months ago that changed a little bit. So we were able to take this new tool and show how it could be used as a resource for a sales team, for a marketing team, for all of these different departments. And that made it make sense. Up until that point, it was kind of like, well, why would we?
Invest.
Why
in
360 video? Like, that doesn't make sense. But when they were faced with the situation of, okay, maybe half of our sales team is in other parts of the country or the world, how do we allow them to both see this and learn about the new products, and also maybe share it with their clients and new potential customers?
Right.
So it was something very simple, but really just drawing those correlations of how to use it in a practical application, rather than I've got this new 360 camera and
it's so cool, check it out.
Look at this. Or we really, what we really need is a VR app that does X, Y, Z. And no, you may not need that. Like, everybody doesn't need an iPhone app or an app in the App Store.
Right.
But if you have a purpose and a reason to need that app, then you might need one.
Right.
But just as far as having an app for having app's sake, I think that's kind of where some of the adoption in VR technologies and the 360 capabilities have kind of gone a little bit underutilized. I think even again just a couple of months ago, when Facebook went ahead and pushed Facebook 360 and started making updates to it, it allowed people to really understand it better. You've already got some of those capabilities in your phone. Now, the phone doesn't do a full 360, but your panoramic photos can now automatically go in. I think with the updates coming in new phones and cameras in phones, you'll see that some of this technology will get adopted into devices that everyone has, which, once that happens, then you're going to see a bigger pickup in people experimenting on how to use this type of technology.
Yeah, which is a pretty exciting thing to be a part of. I think it's really cool that you sort of have helped bridge the gap between, companies who have that issue of, I guess closing the barrier of entry between sales and a lead and exposing their, product services or manufactured services, to a group of people. having that opportunity to just kind of experience it and have every angle visible, and not rather than tons of pictures telling a story, I think it's a pretty awesome use for this. What I'll do today is I'm going to actually, you want to go grab your camera?
Yeah, I'll go grab my camera.
While he's grabbing his camera, what I'm going to do in just a little bit is I will, after we kind of wrap up our time together, I'm going to send a link to Strat's company page, Juncture, and get you some info, because there may be a ton of you guys that actually might want to connect with him for various reasons. Obviously, the fact that he's been doing this for a while now makes him pretty spectacular. And it looks like he's got a couple of devices here for us.
And wait,
there's more. Yeah, pretty exciting. I'm going to move this down so I can get a better view and take this down so you guys can see. And today, actually, I'm in the Edney building, which is one of the coolest buildings that's been renovated in the Innovation District here in Chattanooga. I'm currently in the 6th floor in the Society of Work, and couldn't be a better day to be talking about this kind of stuff. And what's cool about the Edney building, if you're ever around Chattanooga, is opportunities to reconnect and talk and collaborate happen all the time, which is why we're doing this today. All right, so tell us what you have here, sir.
So we kind of have a general overview. I'm moving to the other side to give you just some reasons to use this video and check things out. So what we've got is the HTC Vive, which is a full-bodied VR headset. So they're pretty great. You know, they're tethered. So this is the big thing that turns a lot of people off. This is your most expensive option for viewing. We create content and like to play video games. So we use this thing a lot. I just personally prefer it over the Oculus. We also have an Oculus, but I've got it out on loan right now. This one just seems, the Vive seems to be a little more user-friendly for just the general public. We take this out for demos and work with a lot of different people using it. The camera that we're shooting on today is the Ryko Theta. Looks just like this. It's a great little camera because it's small. It comes with a nice little case. It fits in your pocket. I take this thing everywhere. It's gone to Japan with me, and it's great because it's a single button. It does live video and connects through Wi-Fi, so you can also set it up and control it from your phone, which gives you a lot of different options that you don't necessarily have with some other tools. This thing here is a Fly 360 camera. This goes back to just give you kind of an idea and show you the difference of some of the cameras. So this is a camera with 2 lenses and 2 sides, and does the rectilinear formatting. So it's basically like two 180-degree cameras or lenses that wrap around with a wider frame. This is one that does the spherical view. They kind of echo that all the way down to its shape. This one is really cool because it's utilized and kind of touted as the GoPro 360.
Cool.
So it comes with all of these different attachments, like a GoPro, to attach it to specialty sports equipment, helmets, whatever. There's a 4K version of this that's pretty cool. The 4K version is the only one that allows you to do live streaming, so you can actually live stream with it. I can't with this one. This is one of the early versions of it.
What's the name of this one again?
This is the Fly 360.
Okay.
I usually just have it sitting around my office, and people ask why I have a black eyeball sitting around my office.
Fair question.
But for ease and usability, I like this guy.
Cool.
It's a little bit lower res. Sometimes it can cause fuzzy pictures depending on lighting and things like that. But if you guys get out there and buy more of them, then maybe they'll upgrade them and we won't have to worry about that.
Awesome. You have one more thing to show us?
I do have one more thing.
Fancy.
And the other thing is, a lot of you guys may or may not have seen, this is just another viewing device. It's Google Cardboard. This is just a fancy setup for the Google Cardboard. So you can take and place your camera in there, or your phone in there, and view some of the great content like what you're watching right now, or a lot of the other content in a more virtual style. So instead of having to take your phone and move it around and look at it, you can put it in here, and the lenses really help you feel more immersed in the scene. So you would feel more like you were sitting here at the table talking with us, rather than just watching us on a video and kind of looking around at what we've got. So you could maybe we're talking about something you don't care about and you want to look more at the details of our camera here or the HTC Vive while we're talking.
It's pretty awesome. What would you tell, first timers trying to get into this and learn where they start? What would you say is a good device to get them past, the entry point?
So it kind of depends on if you're wanting to look more into being a content creator or just a consumer of the content. So for a consumer of content, there's a lot of options. I mean, it may even be readily available right now in the phone that you have. So there are a couple of versions of the Android phones, as well as the iPhone. There's libraries now where you can go and find 360 content to view. So an entry level or kind of upgraded version of checking out things would be just to get yourself a nice Google Cardboard. There's things online where you can buy them. One of my favorites actually looks like the old picture viewer. It's made by the same company. These things are great because they're wireless. It goes with your phone battery. So if you're kind of looking to experience and create content, you can pair that with a device like the Fly 360 or the Ryko Theta. There's a couple of other versions out there or products that are provided by other people, and they kind of range anywhere from around $300 or $400 up to basically sky's the limit on what you want to spend. But some of the more expensive cameras aren't necessarily the best cameras.
Right.
Which is why I kind of settled on the ones that we have today.
Awesome.
If you're really into the gaming side of things and checking stuff out, I really encourage you to try and find out, test, or check out a Vive or an Oculus. There's a lot of options for that. In Chattanooga, you can check out both by going over to the library's 4th floor and experience those and kind of see if it makes sense. Both of them require a high-end gaming PC plus the hardware to interface with everything. So it's quite a pricey proposition. Sometimes you can find bundles, but even at a minimum, a whole bundle, you're looking at like $1,400 or $1,500. That would be if you were looking to do more high-end actual VR
Content
development.
Not necessarily, not all, just experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And what we do is we utilize a program called Unity, and we also utilize the Unreal Engine. So both of those should be familiar to most of the people out there who might be gamers. They're now both free to develop, and then they have different systems for, like, if you're going to actually publish and start charging for your content, then you have to pay a licensing fee to use the content. But to get in there, learn about it, start doing tutorials or learning online, which is one of the main ways that we experience